I've generated over 2.2 million euros on YouTube without ever showing my face. That's the headline. That's the number that gets me clicks and the number that makes you want to watch this video because you think I have the secret to printing money. But I'm going to start this video by telling you the truth. That number is a lie. You have to realize the reality. That 2.2 million was generated over 10 years. This equates to roughly 220,000 euro per year. Still sounds great, right? But running a professional media operation costs money. My expenses run between 100,000 and 140,000 euro a year, with some years running way higher and way lower, both on the profit and expense side. In general, the net profit, the money that actually hits my personal bank account, typically ranges from 80,000 to 120,000 euro, sometimes a little bit above or below. And then the tax man comes. I'm telling this not to discourage you, but rather to deprogram you. The Lamborghini lifestyle you see from YouTube gurus is marketing. The reality of being a professional YouTuber is that it's a job, a business, and a grind. I'm what you call a faceless YouTuber. My voice is more so the product, not my face, and this creates a pretty important distinction. Brands trust faces. Faces create connection, and therefore, as a faceless creator, I have to work twice as hard to build authority, and brand deals don't come through as abundantly as creators who have that face connection. But despite everything I've just said to curb your enthusiasm, I still think this is the best business in the world. Goldman Sachs released a report projecting the creator economy will hit $480 billion by 2027. That tells me there's still heaps of space for people to make a buck, and today, I'm going to condense 10 years of failures, tax bills, and algorithm changes into the next 15 minutes. I'm going to show you how to shave years off the figuring it out process and how to mold your mind into a YouTube media business ready machine. I started my journey in 2016 and the platform was way different then. The algorithm was primitive and it didn't care about viewer satisfaction or attention loops. It cared about clicks. I started one channel just based on a personal interest, and I didn't have a strategy, I didn't really have any sort of branding strategy either, and I definitely had no idea it would morph into a career. I was just a teenager annoying my teachers by uploading videos from the classroom Wi-Fi because it was way better at school than at home. Anybody who grew up in Australia during that time can attest. Late in that first year, one video happened to pop off, and it really popped off, which conveniently brings me to my first major lesson. When you get your foot in the door, you don't politely knock, you absolutely barge it down. Imagine the algorithm as a spotlight operator with ADHD, a constantly shifting light that, when it lands on you, means you have a very short window to capitalize. Suffice to say, I took that one successful video and ran with it. I didn't try and get clever and I didn't try to pivot, I simply continued pleasing the specific audience the algorithm had found for me. The next 2 years were a blur of honing in on that niche. I was finishing high school at the time, which, although slowed me down, still kept me grounded. However, as I transitioned out of high school, I hit a wall. I was writing the scripts, I was editing the videos, I was doing the thumbnails, and I realized that my time would be better spent elsewhere. I mean, I was editing on damn iMovie, and while my writing was okay, I felt time pressed and wanted to focus on the managerial side of things and expanding the business. So I dug into the dictionary and found the word I needed: delegation. Years 3, 4, and 5 were defined by one question: how do I build a team without going broke? I knew my time was better spent on strategy and ideation, the high leverage tasks, rather than cutting footage. Therefore, I started hiring. We opened a second channel built on the principles of the first, just in a different niche, and I onboarded writers, editors, and administrative assistants, and some of those contractors are still with me 7 years later. And here's the controversial opinion that might upset some automation gurus. You can't pay peanuts. If you only pay someone $5 for a script, you're gonna get a $5 script. You're gonna get garbage. You get content that viewers click off of in 10 seconds. To have a harmonious team that actually cares about the video quality, you need to pay a fair rate. Of course, you can't break the bank either, and it's a delicate calculation that's constantly changing based on your revenue and the broader market. But if you treat people well, they're inclined to help the business grow. They share in your success, and the flame just burns longer with a cohesive team. During these years, I also learned the hard way about structure. I realized it was more tax effective to open a formal company structure, and I got professional help. This is probably the most boring advice I'll give you in this video, but get a creative business accountant. If you think you're in this entrepreneurship game for the long haul, this is a non-negotiable that will save you tens of, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars over your business career, maybe even more if you've scaled up heaps. Years 6, 7, and 8 were weird. I moved overseas and I was trying to restructure my life and my business simultaneously. I was just trying to keep my head above water. Therefore, I made mistakes. I failed to realize the YouTube game had changed. I thought I could play by the 2016 rules in 2022, and I launched experiments that failed. I ended up losing 5-figure amounts on projects that pretty much went nowhere. But the biggest shock wasn't my own failures, it was the external threat that was looming on the horizon. The AI explosion changed the way every creator thinks. Suddenly, the barrier to entry dropped to near zero. People with no storytelling skills and no editing skills could generate content with a single prompt. The market, of course, flooded. I mean, the word of the year last year was literally slop, and tons of low-quality AI-narrated garbage clogged everybody's feeds, and still does to an extent. I spent those years playing catch-up. I had to audit my entire business and realized that to survive, I couldn't just be a manager, I had to be a leader. I figured out that to keep the growth train going, I needed to be vulnerable and I needed to trust people more. So in saying that, I promoted one of my key team members to the point where they had access to everything. They could delete my entire YouTube library if they went crazy, and they could pay themselves the sum of my business bank account. It might sound terrifying, but after working with someone for years, you get a pretty good gauge of their character. You must allow yourself to trust though. You can't be the CEO and the janitor forever. You need someone reliable to handle the busy work so you can steer the ship through the storm. We ended up weathering that storm, and in the past 2 years, I've opened 2 more profitable channels and have 2 more planned for this year, not including this channel. Revenue is healthy and expenses are fair and manageable. How? By synthesizing everything I learned. I streamlined our platforms. We live on Notion and Discord now, and we cut unnecessary costs. I pretty much asked myself when auditing my channels, what does this really need to function and be successful? I ended up unintentionally implementing the 80-20 rule or Pareto principle and trimmed all the fat. I realized how much time and cash we were burning on software subscriptions that just weren't working, or YouTube shorts and Instagram posts that didn't contribute to our long video revenue. We also addressed the great AI conundrum. Either you can keep the moral high ground and proudly proclaim you don't use it while potentially being left behind, you can use it to enhance your content making process, or most disastrously, you can use it to replace the content process. We of course chose the middle ground. At the end of the day, if you just plop write me a script about fast cars into ChatGPT and call it a day, you're going nowhere.
If you're using a default 11 Labs
voice that everyone else uses, you're also going nowhere. The human touch is the premium asset in 2026. People crave connection and people can smell the low effort content. I mean, after years of being fed slop, you acquire a certain understanding of it and it's pretty hard to mask. YouTube policy updates also seem to be trending toward targeting inauthentic content and killing off the lazy channels. We essentially survived and started thriving because we used AI for efficiency, not for creativity. We use it to research and structure faster so our human writers can more efficiently write better stories, and to give B-roll recommendations to editors, among other things. So how do you replicate this? How do you do in 2 or 3 years what took me 10? Well, here's the crux of what you have to remember when creating your own faceless empire. First, sacrifice quality for consistency, at least at the start. What matters most is that you have passable content and really good ideas. Your first job is to get people through the door. They might complain about a slight audio glitch, but if the idea is good, they'll watch. Establish yourself in the algorithm first, and then invest in 4K quality later. Second, delegate or die. Find people you trust and hand off the tasks that burn you out. This rule is pretty self-explanatory. Third, internalize YouTube. It takes a couple years, but you will develop an intuitive eye for titles and thumbnails. You need to leverage that eye to stand out among the lazier and less quality competition, and this is crucial in getting the algo to notice and elevate you. Make sure to use all of YouTube's new A/B testing tools because they're a blessing we didn't have in 2016 and they help so much. Fourth, experimentation, structure, experimentation. That should be the loop you work within. YouTube is a business. It's a constant cycle of trying something new, consolidating what works, and then breaking it again to find the next growth curve. At the end of the day, this business is exhausting. It's left me wanting to quit multiple times, but it's also deeply freeing. I've traveled the world in my 20s while still building savings, and I have freedom. You will fail, you will suffer, you will burn out, and that's the price of admission. But if you have the resolve to keep pushing, you can build a life that most people only dream of. Anyways, this is just my broad story, and I thought it would be fitting for the first video of the channel. Expect further videos on this channel that dissect exactly how other creators have hacked the system, because I want to give you the inside look. However, for those of you who want even more of a shortcut, who want a personalized report and specific advice on your channel direction, make sure to hit myself or my team member Rahman up in the Calendly links below. Rahman has been crucial in helping us grow these past 2 years and has provided our team with amazing advice and actionable reports, which is why I wanted him as part of this channel. If you want cost-effective yet extremely intelligent advice, here's your guy. If you want direct advice from me, I'm also available. It's just more expensive because I need to protect my time more. The creator economy is just getting started. Are you gonna watch it all happen, or are you gonna build something? Anyways guys, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.